Eliza opened that book and started reading. The summary of that book is something like this: was of type, the matter is of the month of August 1703. In the town lived a farmer, Nido, and his daughter Olivia. Olivia's mother died of illness a few years ago. That's why both of them used to live alone. Nido's house was in the forest near the town. Nido was a farmer by profession and he used to do farming there. Along with this, he also used to catch fish. When his crops such as oats, potatoes or barley were ready, he would go to Gainestown, a big city, to sell them. His dream was that one day he would save enough money to buy his own house in Gainestown. When he went out to sell crops, Olivia would stay home alone and take care of her house and her pet sheep and chickens. He also had a pet dog. But Nido's cheerful life was so eclipsed that all his happiness was destroyed. When the crops grown in Nido's farm were ripe, he put them in the cart and went to Gainestown to sell. His only daughter Olivia was left. She would wake up in the morning and feed the chickens and then go out with the dog to the mountains to graze the sheep. One day when she returned home in the evening, she saw that her dog was barking loudly looking towards the forest. She thought that he might have seen some wild animal, that is why he was barking, but the matter was much bigger than this. Ignoring the dog, she went inside the house. That same day at night the dog again started barking loudly. And this time, along with the dog, the sheep were also making noise, as if they had seen something terrible. Hearing the noise of the animals, Olivia got up from the bed in irritation and with half-opened eyes started searching for the lantern in the dark room. After finding the lantern, she lit it and came out. It was a moonlit night outside and a very cold wind was also blowing. Her dog was barking looking towards the forest. She quickly went to the sheep farm and saw that the sheep were probably scared of something. She looked around but didn't see anyone and came back towards the house. The dog was still barking. She caressed the dog to make it quiet and once again looked towards the forest. The next moment her hands trembled and her lantern fell from her hands. Was she dreaming? Or was it true? She saw that far away at the edge of the forest, a woman in black was standing with a cat in her hand. Moonlight was filtering through the trees of the forest behind the woman. Olivia shuddered with fear. Her blood started freezing. She didn't even have the courage to lift his feet. But she mustered up courage and ran quickly into the house. Olivia quickly closed the door of the house and lay down on the bed in the room, covered with a sheet. Her heartbeat was increasing gradually. Her hands and legs were copper. She was wondering whether she really saw that woman or whether it was an illusion of hers. Should she go and see him once again? But she did not have enough courage to take his face out of the sheet and take a look. It's morning. Olivia could not sleep at night, due to which her eyelids were feeling heavy. Somehow she got up and gave food to the chickens and fodder to the sheep. After this she sat on the wooden platform outside the house. She didn't realize when his eyes would blink while sitting. She suddenly got up after hearing the sound of the car. She saw that his father was returning with the car. Olivia's face lit up with joy. She helped his father unload the luggage from the car and both of them went inside the house. At home, Olivia told her father everything that happened last night, but her father avoided the matter by saying that it was Olivia's delusion. But Olivia's confusion did not end here. Now she saw the same woman in black clothes every night. Gradually the situation became worse. Olivia's mental condition started deteriorating. She kept muttering to herself something like devil, body, soul, who knows what. One day Olivia left home to herd sheep but did not return. Her father Nido went to look for her but found only sheep grazing. Asking around, someone told him that Olivia was last seen in that forest. Nido went to that forest and searched for his daughter but could not find her anywhere. Gradually, the news of Olivia's disappearance spread throughout the town. People started calling it the curse of the Black Lady or the curse of the Black Lady. Olivia's father, Nido, was completely devastated. After his wife's death, Olivia was his last hope for survival, but she too was no more. After a few days, Nido sold his house and went to Glasgow or some other city. But this is the first wave of the Black Lady's curse. Was not the last incident. Once a businessman from England came here with his family. His daughter also went missing like Olivia. This series of disappearances of girls was going on till date, but no one had been able to solve this mystery. Eliza closed the book. Gradually he started understanding everything. The woods behind their house were the same woods where Olivia disappeared. And so, Olivia's house was in the exact same place as her neighbor Frida's house. And what about the woman whom Eliza saw in the forest? Is that woman the Black Lady? Or was the matter something else? Thinking about all this gives her a headache. Started doing it and she went out of the room. When Eliza came out of the room, she saw that the cross on the door was upside down again. It didn't take long for fear to enter his mind. She started feeling that some terrible disaster was going to happen to her family. She quickly straightened herself up and descended the stairs into the hall. Coming down, she saw that Nancy was cleaning some old things like that big knife, silver cup and toys. "What are you doing, Nancy?" "Charles always keeps these clean. He's lazy, Mom. He doesn't clean them well," Nancy replied dryly. The veins in Eliza's head were already bursting. She got angry. She said in a loud voice, "This house is so clean because of Charles. Had it not been for him, this house would have become haunted by now." Then Eliza saw that Charles had come out of the kitchen. He was listening to both of them. Eliza went to Charles and said, "I apologize on her behalf, Charles. I don't know why she's doing this." "No problem, ma'am. I can understand. My head hurts a lot. Will you make me a cup of coffee?" "Yes, ma'am. I will bring it too." "Thank you, Charles." Charles went to make coffee. Eliza thought that till then she should go outside for a while in the fresh air. She came out of the house. After roaming around for a while, she started going back towards home. While coming, she heard the sound of someone else's footsteps. She looked around but did not see anyone. She walked some distance but again felt that someone was behind her. After moving some distance further, she suddenly looked back. Looking back, Eliza's heart seemed to have given up. A girl was standing about a meter away from him. She was a beautiful girl of about 16-17 years old. She was wearing the old-fashioned attire worn in the Scottish countryside. Before Eliza could ask anything through her trembling lips, Charles called her, "Ma'am, your coffee is ready." Eliza looked towards Charles and then immediately looked back, but by then the girl had disappeared from there. Eliza quickly came into the house and sat at the dining table. She couldn't understand what was happening. First that woman from the forest. Now this girl. Was his brain creating all this confusion due to living in such a deserted place? Charles brought a cup of coffee to her table. Eliza picked up the cup with trembling hands. Charles found Eliza somewhat uncomfortable. He asked, "Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm fine," Eliza said. Night fell. Everyone had dinner and went to their respective rooms to sleep. Eliza couldn't sleep. She was remembering all the same incidents while turning on her side. After some time she fell asleep. Many days passed like this. Children had now started going to school. After sending the children to school, Eliza would read books or help Charles with household chores. Eliza and Frida also became good friends. Frida's house was a short distance from his house. She used to visit his house often. Sometimes she would go to Eliza town and bring books from the Crescent Library. She also became good friends with Emily there. Gradually Eliza started to forget the old events, but little did she know that this was the calm before the storm. One day Eliza learned from Charles that there was a pond in the middle of the forest. Eliza was very fond of fishing. That's why one day early in the morning she set out towards the pond carrying a basket and fishing line to catch fish. After going some distance, something hit Eliza's feet in the forest. When she picked it up, it looked like the head of a bird statue.